Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a podcast made for Fear Fam members by Fear Fam members.
We would like to remind you that Fear Babes Podcast is not affiliated with the Project Fear crew in any way.
Everything we discuss on this podcast is strictly our own opinions.
My name is Madeline.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Jamie.
And we are the Fear Babes.
What up, babes? Did you miss us last week? I hope you did, because we missed you. It's been a crazy, I guess, 2 weeks, really. Yeah. We're missing Jamie this week, which makes me sad. Jamie, come back. You put it all on. Everything. Everything. Life in general, probably. Yeah, life has been crazy, but we're going to get into that here in a second. It was very, very podcasty voice of you. I know. I've been listening to so many podcasts recently, like, bro. Like, of course, you know, I listened to Holly and Bridget with Girls Next Level because I'm absolutely fucking obsessed with Girls Next Door. So I've been listening to their podcast. I've been listening to Trisha Paytas, and then I've been listening to Tana Mojo's Canceled podcast. I'm gonna have to listen to some of this. See, I used to listen to podcasts when I would clean. Like, I would listen to, like, my mom found one. It's called Time Suck with Dan Cummins. He's like a comedian or something. Yeah. And then I listen, like, there's one called Small Town Murder we listened to, and I used to listen to those while I would clean. But now I just am fully enveloped in our own podcast, and that's the only one I'm involved in any sort of way. So, you know, I think there's just something about, like, I just have a podcast kick now, so I just am eating it up. I am like keeping my eyes out for everybody. Like, Girls Next Level comes out on Mondays. And then, like, every time that I see Tana's and Trisha's, I think theirs are like early in the week too. I don't know, but I immediately click that shit. Like, I'm eating it up. I love it. I love podcasts. I love that. I've just been like, I just keep filling my time. Like, work is, you know, work. And, like, a lot of times, I mean, I go in close to 8 a.m. and I leave close to 6 p.m. or so. And then I go to the gym at 7:30, Monday through Thursday. And then, you know, on the weekends, we're doing this. So I just really fill my time up. So I'm going to have to start, like, maybe at work while I'm, like, instead of listening to music, I'll start listening to podcasts. But it's funny because one of my coworkers, I won't name drop you just in case you don't want me to do that yet, but shout out you. She started listening to us. And so sometimes I'll talk to her and she's like, wait, you're saying two different things in two different ears. Hold on a second. You know, it's crazy. She'll have to pause us. I just want to take a second to say, like, a quick little shout out to just all of the people in our personal lives that have been listening to our podcast that you would never expect. Like, oh, exactly. It's crazy. Like, I literally had my cousin, if she's listening to this, hi. I won't name drop you either because I don't want to do that. But she had sent me a message last week and she's like, I just want to say that I'm so proud of you and I love your podcast. And I'm just like, literally, I would have never expected her to listen to it. And I've had that happen a lot. Like, I feel like we all have. Yeah, well, first of all, hi, Mads' cousin. I love you. But, like, what's cool for me, like, all my coworkers, like, shout out Phoenix Capital Group coworkers of mine that listen because, like, even if they're not into, like, the paranormal, they're still like, I want to support you. And I'm like, this is, like, the coolest thing ever. And you're making my heart so happy right now. It's funny that you brought this up, Mads, because I was talking to Katie recently and I was like, you know what's really funny is on Spotify, it shows you geographically, like, where people are listening to you from. And so, like, what is it, like 40 to 50% of our listeners are in Wyoming? And I'm like, who's not talking to me that still listens to me? Because yeah, old friends, new friends, people I haven't met yet, like, and old coworkers, like, you love me from afar. Thank you so much. It's crazy because I did the same thing because I was looking at North Carolina because that's another one of, like, the top ones, obviously. Yeah, of course, right? It's all in the areas that are around me. And I'm like, who the fuck is listening in X area, X area. Like, it's
that though, literally, because I told Katie, I told her, I was like, it says that whatever number I saw, like, let's say it's like 40 or something, just for easy math here. I'm like, out of those 40 people listening in Casper, Wyoming, I can only think of 5 that I know of. So the rest of you, all 35 of the rest of you, thank you.
Bro, it's mind-blowing. But thank you to the people in our personal lives who listen that I would have never guessed, because honestly, it makes me so happy, and I'm getting already sappy because that's just who I am, but it has just been so incredible. Like, all the people that have supported us and continue to support us and listen every single week, like, it's just unbelievable.
I agree. It's
literally unbelievable. Like, I'm literally
it's cool
up right now.
It's cool.
I can't. I'm such a big, like, sap. Like, I don't know. I just never expected it.
I don't. Yeah, me either. Like I said, like, all the people around this general area, I'm like, who's listening to me? Because, like, y'all not be talking to me. And, like, I get it. We're adults, right? We have lives and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, you still love me. Thank you. Because I probably still love you too.
Yeah, definitely. I know that you mentioned work. So work for me has been crazy, man. Like, it's the personal tax deadline for extensions, and this week has just been so crazy. I feel like I can't keep up with all the stuff that's going on because everybody waits until the last minute, and it's been a very stressful week. I feel like I've been running for 8 hours a day, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, because I'm just constantly like one thing and then another thing and then the next thing, and then still trying to keep up with everything that's going on outside of work in my personal life. And it's just like, man, feels like I've just ran a marathon.
Yeah, felt that. Like, mentally, you're like totally exhausted.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yep. Felt that for sure.
So last weekend, should I say, it was a week ago today. Sierra's getting married this month. Oh my God, it's coming up so quick.
And it's going to be here before you know it.
It's going to be here before we know it. So her mom and her sister threw her one last bridal shower where she's from, up there near Boone, North Carolina. They literally live, like, their family, they all live on a mountain. And so I have never been up there before, even though me and Sierra have been friends for 10 plus years.
Oh, dang, okay.
Yeah, it's just never worked out, like, for us to go up there together. I was asking them, I was like, can we please go to the top of the mountain? Because I really want to see the view, especially since the leaves are starting to change. It's not peak, but I'm satisfied with what I saw. It was still very beautiful.
Your pictures were gorgeous, dude.
Oh, man, I wish you could see it in person. It was incredible. But the journey up there was like, her dad took us in his 4-wheel drive truck, okay? And we were going on almost a 90-degree incline. And
oh, gosh.
We were sitting in the back of the truck, and we were all holding on for dear life. It was literally like a workout. Like, my poor arms were so sore. And going into the next day, it was like I was in pain. I was just like, oh,
I can't move.
I need to be a vegetable. Like,
literally
couldn't do anything. It hurt, but I was just like, worth it for that view.
Jealous.
Super cool. I know. I mean, it's really fun.
But yeah, so that's actually a good segue, Mads, into why we were absent last week.
Yeah.
We tried. We were going to record a episode on Thursday night, but sometimes life just happens and it just didn't work out. So hopefully y'all enjoyed our bloopers episode.
That was a lot.
The infamous Madeline laugh.
It was good.
My favorite part was the fucking I had to put the tea kettle laugh in there, man. Dude. It was like,
I love
we're
that.
doing bloopers. The moment we were like, let's do bloopers. So I was like, I know exactly what we're doing.
Tea kettle.
I was like, I know the exact moment that has to go in there.
That was before we had recorded with Alex. It was the night before we were all doing a mic test.
Yep.
And because we had like our mics were doing, well, mine especially was doing weird shit for a couple weeks. And so I was like, I'm not going to blow this with Alex. Like, we need to do a mic test, and I'm going to do everything I can. And so that was transpiring, and it was a wild night. Like, we were high on life.
We were being inappropriate. Yeah. I mean, talk about bloopers, but y'all are never gonna hear those. Never, ever, ever.
Never.
You just get the tea kettle laugh because it's too good not to share.
What you did leave in, I thought it was so funny because nobody's ever going to see the picture that I said, guys, I just sent you a picture, and you guys are like, what the fuck? And it's the dirtiest, nastiest fucking picture of me ever.
I would like to clarify, she was fully clothed. Like, it was not like that type of situation.
That time I was. Just, anyway.
Moving on. Should we get into what we're doing this week?
Yes, we need to.
This week, we have a very special guest. Please give a warm welcome to the one, the only. She's my mom. She's your mom. She's everybody's mom. Big's mom. Yeah.
Wendy.
Yes. AKA Wendy, aka Mama Zim. Welcome to Fear Babes.
Hello, Fear Babes. I'm so excited.
I've been dying for this episode because the Twitterverse loves mom, so everybody wants this to happen.
So that makes me put my head in my hand and take a deep sigh. I don't understand why the Twitterverse is interested in moi. I'll do my best. Okay.
You're just funny.
Pep talk.
So I really, really want you to please enlighten everybody on how I tricked you. I mean, how did you get into watching Destination Fear / Project Fear to begin with?
Oh, okay. So here's some ground rules, because you can't have a conversation with me without some ground rules. So I will explain myself to my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, and how I remember it. And
where'd you go? You're getting far away. I can barely hear you.
What?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I had to walk away from it.
You putting voicing on?
No.
What was that?
Okay, so I am having a little mini wine glass of Fireball right now.
Oh.
And I'm at my desk, and it left a sticky ring on my desk, and I had to clean it off because it was gross. I can't handle this. I don't like sticky.
Oh, okay.
I can't
So was that like hand sanitizer then, or spray?
No, Windex. Spray.
Oh, yeah, that's all I heard. So I was like, what was that?
And then I got far away because I walked into the next room. Came back. Okay.
Mom, we're recording a podcast. You can't just walk away.
I'm here. It's fine. Okay. I can't do sticky. It's a texture thing. I can't, it's gross.
Okay.
That's gross. Okay.
Understandable.
So, back to the question. How did you trick me? I mean, how did I get involved in Destination Fear? And then subsequently Project Fear. Many, many moons ago, I had my adult daughter who would come to my house because we have this giant TV in my basement, and with her friends to watch this TV show that she was like super gaga about. And my husband and I are like, okay, whatever.
Just outing me.
Just go watch your show and it's fine. And we just kept hearing about it and just kept hearing about it and just kept hearing about it. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then my husband and I are settled in watching something on TV, and we get this, Mom, I need you to come here for this picture. Mom, come take this picture. Like, why are we just come here quick. Why are we taking this picture? You got to come here. Okay, fine. So we go and we take this picture. And then she says, okay, there's this contest thing. And if we get enough people, that's why I have she's in my room. Yeah. So she's like, and my daughter's like, Mom, if we win this contest, you're going to have to come down here and you have to talk to these people on Skype. Okay. We're like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's 3 seconds. It's fine. So we took this really corny picture and she did this Twitter thing. Now, here's something you have to know about me is I'm not a social media person. So I share Facebook with my husband. So I don't have to do Facebook, but I can be connected to people like from high school. I have a Pinterest that I do use quite a bit. And
can you make Angel stop?
I threw it down the hallway.
Okay. Sorry.
So keep in mind, it's been a really weird week. I've been sick, and you've shinied me like 5 times. What are we talking about?
Okay, anyway, so we made you do the picture, and then you're
okay.
not tech savvy. You have Facebook, so you can stay in touch with high school friends.
Right. And I do Pinterest because I do use that. I craft a lot of stuff. And I like to get lost on occasion in TikTok verse. Okay. But that's it. I don't do the rest of the stuff. So my daughter's doing her whatever thing, Twitter, Facebook, however she's connecting with the world. And then she's like, I don't know, 40 minutes later, okay, we got the Skype. You got to come down and you got to talk to these people. I'm like, what? They have the show on Travel Channel and they're going to talk to us. And you got to come and here's what you have to talk about. This is the episode. And then you have to ask these questions. I'm like, whatever. I'm like super irritated and annoyed, right?
Okay. So anybody who has been around since the beginning, Mads, do you remember when they were doing the contest, if you did a watch party, that they would Zoom or Skype call you? Okay.
Yes, but I never had enough people because they wanted 5+ people.
Mm-hmm. So
well,
you should have you should have pulled the
Burgundy. Neither did Burgundy. She clept out her parents into this bullshit.
You should have pulled the Berg. Okay, so it was me and Kelly had a fiance at the time. He's no longer in the picture. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, who cares? Okay, so me and Kelly and her fiance were like, okay, that's 3 of us. We need 2 more people. We're at Mom and Don's house. There are 2 people upstairs. We were like, I was like, Mom, please, you just have to be in this photo. And if we get the call, you're going to have to be on the Zoom call or the Skype call. And we'll just watch and I'll brief you if it happens. And please, we really want to talk to him. So as she said, so they're in the photo. Okay. So then 5 minutes after the show ends, I get this message on Twitter and it's like, hey, Burgundy Brown, would you like to talk about the show on Skype? And I was like, ah! So
seriously, it was totally right.
So I run upstairs and I was like, it's happening. They're like, what? I'm like, okay, so this is the episode, this is what happened, and if they ask this question, this was your favorite moment, and if they ask if you have any questions, this is what you're gonna ask them, okay? And I briefed them on what to say to the Destination Fear crew. And I think it was the 4th episode ever that we got to talk to them. And so we go downstairs and we sit and we get on the Skype call.
No. We don't sit. She strategically places us. She gets this chair. She puts the laptop on the chair, props it up.
It was my pillow,
iPad. Checks 15
it was my
angles,
iPad.
Whatever. 15 or 16 angles. And then we wait. All right, Bert, pick it up.
I could see all this happening. I could see
it.
I
mean, we were about to talk to the Destination Fear crew. You had to be prepared. So,
dude, and that was your first time, right? That was your first time talking to them?
Yeah. So anyways, now you can finish how that led into you wanting to watch the show.
So we get posed to do this, and we have this conversation with them. And we get off the Skype call, and it wasn't super long, but Dawn and I were like, okay, so we're old, and we're with these young kids, and we're these people we just talked to are real. They're like, what? Normal? For celebrities, and so because we live in the middle of nowhere and I'm kind of a people snob, I only like to be around certain kinds of people, and I live in the place where there's nobody else lives on purpose, and I stay in my Biden basement because this is where I work, and I don't have to leave my house very often because that makes me comfortable, right? And that's me now, but this was 5 years ago or whatever. And okay, thank you, 4 years ago. And my husband was like, they really okay, now I'm interested. Now we've met these people, I haven't seen a show yet, met these people, and we're like, they're real, and they're normal, and they're polite, and they're articulate, and they're intelligent, and they're respectful. And now we're like, okay. I was like, okay. So then Berg proceeds to make us watch every stinking episode all at the same time.
I did not. It was you guys wanted to because of how real they were. Dawn was like, we could actually watch the episode and see what it's like, and so we did. And then he's like, well, this is the 4th one, right? And I was like, yeah. So then we watched all 4 of them that night. I stayed the night. We slept on the couch. We binged the first 4 episodes of Destination Fear together.
We did. It wasn't our type of show that we would watch. My husband is a super skeptic. Is ridiculous how skeptical he is. Okay. And on top of that, I'm going to out him for just a minute, but he grew up in a Southern Pentecostal home church cult. So.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. So he's got some very strong things, like issues with all of this stuff. Anyway, so we were like, yeah, this is kind of cool. So then we decided, okay, we'll watch. And we watched the next episode when it came out. And what was it, like 2 or 3 episodes later, we had another Skype call. And this time we had our own questions prepared. And we really enjoyed that Skype call. And it turned into this like family event. And that it just kind of grew. And then some very mystical, magical things happened from us watching. And yeah, we became huge.
Who's texting
Destination Fear, Project Fear fans. There's a situation happening.
Okay. I was like, you popular.
Blew up right as I was supposed to get on this call with you. And then I had technical difficulties because that is my fucking life right now. Boom.
Felt that.
Boom.
So anyway, yeah, that's how I got accepted into the Project Fear universe.
You know, I love that so much because I really tried to get my Wendith to do it. And she watched Ghost Adventures with me and she was so into that kind of thing, but I could not get her into Destination Fear. I could not. She would not. It was just, I don't know.
We did it. I'm sure there was a couple of times that was on in pretty early in the background, and that wasn't something I could ever get into because I'm like such a realist. I can't do.
There was actually.
Sorry, I was going to be like.
You're doing it.
And then the spirit came from behind the door. Dun, dun, dun. Did you see the spirit of Susie Joe Little Person? And I have a headache. I can't fucking do it. I just can't do it.
No.
I can't do it.
There was one specific time that, because, it was on Travel Channel, and so when it ended, then Ghost Adventures would come on, and there was one time it came on, and that was like pre all the stuff, and Fear Fam, the stuff. And so I just kind of left it on for a minute, and like not even 10 minutes later, Dawn's like, "Can you please shut this off?"
But you know what's crazy is that like I feel like it used to be good, but like when Destination Fear started to become a thing, it kind of showed us that Ghost Adventures is just so full of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say too much because we have this platform now, but. Yeah. We got out of that real quick because everything just seems so theatrical, and I don't know.
I'm with you. So I'm just going to jump in here because that's what I do. I come in and take over. I think because I can see myself, I don't know that I would, but I can see myself doing what it's more realistic to me, doing what they're doing. That whole urban exploring thing, taking equipment with you, going into someplace at night when you're alone and seeing what happens, to me is so much more realistic. And it's just, the emotions are real. The being scared, the laughing, all of that stuff, the interactions, you can see the friend chemistry within the crew. You can see the connection, the sibling connection. And to me, it's just, it's so much more like real life.
Yeah, definitely.
What I see, how I see real life. I think it was, and especially for Don to watch that. All this time, there has to be something for him to be able to be engaged and to be captivated and to have his attention grabbed like that.
Yeah, I can confirm. Yes, that literally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like I just feel like Destination Fear, Project Fear, they're just so different from the other like shows that I have watched personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously we've met some of these people at conventions that have other shows and they're all super nice. And I have seen their shows before, but there was just something about Destination Fear and Project Fear that was just like, it was different. I think what made it different was how, like you said, how real they are. And they have been real from the beginning, and how they interact with their fans. It's just,
Well,
not crying.
That's cute. No. Well, I mean, we went to. I don't know if I'm jumping around here too much, but Burgundy and I went to Vegas in 22?
December 2021.
December 2021. I had to, because it's been like 10 years in the last 3.
It feels like it.
And you know what was so interesting to me is meeting, because we met the crew in person, and they were so normal. And then we got to meet Polly, and we got to meet Rob, and we got to meet some of the other people involved. And then there was other Travel Channel talent that was there. And it was a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were just like genuinely interested. And I mean, I had the best 45-minute. I probably bored Chelsea to death, but I just had question after question after question after question. And she just was like so interested in answering all the questions, whether it was about her, it was about Dakota, or if it was Tanner. It like the locations, and then what happens behind the scenes, and then the road trip, and then all the time the hotel, like, because I have nerd questions I always have to ask. It was just, and Alex, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And then to come home and then watch them on TV again, it just was a completely, like, it changes. I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like when I listen to you guys on the podcast, I'm like, oh, I know these people. And then it's like I'm a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not in the conversation when you're having it, but I'm still a part of the conversation. Like I've shared the same experiences, and they're just as real as you see them on screen. They're even more real in person. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing. I'm not a huge celebrity person, I guess, because I think people are people and we all stink, so it doesn't really matter. But I think it was, I definitely would make time to spend time with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely, for sure.
Yeah, clearly, because we keep doing it. Me and Madeline.
Well, you know, that's what I told Mom. My mom has started to come around a little bit, because I'm like, Mom, like, she hears about my experiences, like, with them and like being around them and stuff. And she's like, they sound really cool. And I'm like, please just watch the show with me. I promise. Like, she's watched a couple episodes here and now, but I feel like if she had like an experience where she met them, it would change her perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
It's almost like it's like how small the world really is, but yet at the same time, what the opportunities can be in the world. And it just makes me want to root for them. It just makes me want to see them succeed and kind of stick it to the man. You know, I'm like, suck it, network. Well, that's a whole nother conversation I don't want to waste time on.
That's fair.
I mean, it's just, that's what I think about that. Anyway.
Same. You just summed it up for me.
Well, it's just a time waster. Anyway, okay, next question.
Okay. So I think that's me, but I know that you touched on Dawn a little bit, but I'm curious, like, did you grow up with a family who also believed in the paranormal or paranormal activity? Like, what's your thoughts on all of that, like, as a whole?
Oh, that's loaded. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of loaded.
So, no, well, first of all, I don't know if I grew up with a family. This is going to sound really weird. Okay. I didn't have that kind of relationship with my family growing up to know whether or not they all had thoughts on the paranormal. So I don't know for them. I know for me, my own personal experiences, I thought, because I've listened to enough of you guys' podcast to know what kind of questions you ask. And I thought about this one, and I thought about this one, and I thought about this one. And, okay, we're going to have to get really deep for just a minute. Is that okay?
That's okay.
We love it.
Dude, we get deep all the time, man.
Yeah, the listeners love it too.
Okay, so I believe that we have, and so I'm not talking about religion. I know there's some current thought out there right now that you can't be spiritual and be religious, or you're either both, or you're only one, or you have to be one, or you have to be the other. And I don't subscribe to any of that crap. I consider myself very Christian, and I consider myself very non-religious. I don't really have a very religious background, outside of a little bit growing up, like when I was really young, going to church, Sunday school, and until I was about 8. But I do believe that we have our own team on the other side. And when I say the other side, I mean in heaven. We have our team, our group, our people, our spirit guides, our loved ones, our connected soul people, for lack of a better term, who are with us all the time. I also believe that the human experience is something to be revered. It's something to be immersed in and experienced wholeheartedly. I believe with that, okay, now I'm like, I'm going for more. I'm digging my hole right now. I'm just digging it. I'm digging to myself deep. You can't have one without it all, and you can't really have pieces. And I'm not saying that I believe that there's good and evil out there. I think people inherently are evil. I don't know necessarily that I believe in demonic energy or demons, but I do believe that there's positive energy, good energy, and bad energy. And I believe that because we, as a human beings, now I know I can tell when my dog is sad and I can tell when my dog is happy, but I don't think that there's another species on this planet that embodies that energy, that emotional energy like we do as human beings. And anytime that there's something good that happens, I mean, you can be in a group of people and you can have a good, positive experience, and other people gravitate towards that, and they take that energy from you and they carry it on and they recreate it. I also think when really bad things happen to people in places, that it can create a ton of negative energy. So, for example, taking this back to Project Fear, the places, especially like when they're in like a prison or a hospital, there's always all this negative energy because you get a group of people and you take people to their lowest common denominator, and everybody defaults to basic instinct. And most people are inherently bad. Okay, now I'm getting into like 16 topics here, but just hang in there with me. Hang in there with me. And so I believe that when we are in heaven and we are with our group of people and we create our next human experience, we design what we want that to be for whatever purpose we need to learn. Maybe the last round, we didn't get to feel the loss of someone, and because in heaven you don't get those kinds of feelings, you want to feel that, so you craft this thing. And I'm not saying that I believe that bad things are designed to happen to people. I believe that we have free will, and people decide to be good or to be bad, and people decide to do good things and to do bad things. And there are other people who are negative and live in a negative world and embody negative energy that morph themselves onto other people to be negative and do negative things. Okay, I'm going to stop that conversation before I really get too deep and get sucked in a black hole I can't get out of. So I think that as human beings, with the emotional states that we have, we can imprint our energy into space. And when you have a hospital or you have a prison and you have negative things after negative things after negative things happen, all of that negative energy imprints into the walls, into the floor, into the surroundings, and negative energy attracts other negative energy, and positive energy repels negative energy. And I think that's, we get the leftover pieces of those things that are imprinted in that area. Does that make sense? Are you following anything I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You guys are so quiet, and I'm just going and going.
We're sucked into what you're saying.
No, it's interesting because you're saying things that we've talked about before. But I'm gonna let you keep going.
So for example, let me give you, here's some of my experiences. Okay. So, Burgundy was a baby. We lived in this little town called Canton, South Dakota. And it was like, 25 miles south of Sioux Falls, because that's the area that we lived in. And I worked in Sioux Falls, and I would have to drive home to Canton. And sometimes it'd be late at night, and sometimes I'd be on a backcountry road, and I would pass like an intersection, and I would get a feeling that I wasn't alone, and I would look in my rearview mirror and there would be somebody sitting in the backseat of my car. And then I'd be like, okay, and I'll just drop you off at wherever I need to drop you off at. Or there would be other times where I would be driving down the interstate going, and like a little later than that, like 6 months to a year later than that, we lived in a little town called Centerville. And I worked in Sioux Falls, and that was 45 minutes south of Sioux Falls. And I would be driving to work, and I would pass an on-ramp or an off-ramp to some other little town, and I would hear like a car accident. Something that happened maybe a week before, maybe 10 years before. I would have a situation. I had a car accident, and about 2 weeks before I had it, I heard it. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
I have, there's a lot of old buildings in downtown Sioux Falls, and I used to go, there's this courthouse museum, and it was from like the 1800s, and it was the original courthouse, and they turned it into a museum. And when I was a kid, it was free. And I would go and I would walk the floor. You know how a wooden floor creaks? Mm-hmm. And if I would be still enough, I could hear skirts rustling.
Yeah.
I have had, right when Don and I first got married, like 102 years ago, we had a family reunion with his family in Kentucky. And we had a nice family drive in the motorhome from South Dakota to Kentucky. And we stayed on some family property, which had been at one point in time an old tobacco plantation. And I can remember getting ready to fall asleep at night, and I would hear all these people like talking to me, like a man and a woman and an old man and a child. And then the noise would get so loud.
Yeah. Like
I wouldn't be able to sleep. And I would have to ask everyone to be quiet. First of all, because too many people talking. You can't hear anything, and you're freaking me out. I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
And so like, if I go to a place, we were in Deadwood a couple years ago, and we did a ghost tour, and they walk you around this old hotel, and half of it's under construction, and the lights are out. And I'd be like, there's a guy standing in the corner, and he's just standing there watching us. And Don's like, whatever, you know what you're talking about. And there's pictures. You can go look up that hotel and you can see pictures. And I'm like, yeah, that's the guy that was standing there. So it's almost like sometimes you can see people. Sometimes you can feel people. The thing that really freaks me out is when you can hear people.
Yes.
Real fast, like, because I was just going to tell Mads for context, because she just said the Deadwood thing. And for listeners too. Like, when we were taking a picture in the on the ghost tour and by the stairs, and she said there's going to be a man with a top hat on standing in our photo, and he wasn't in our photo, but the next day me and Katie were looking at photos from the ghost tour, and he was in somebody else's photo, and she goes, that's the guy that was behind us. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was eerie. I was like, how just how? Anyways, sorry I interrupted you, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
I've had it, and it's never been, for me, none of this stuff has ever been, this one time this happened and then I can see. It's been my entire life.
Yes.
I can tell, and so this probably makes me sound crazy, which is okay because I am. I can tell you how old I was the first time God talked to me. I can tell you how old I was the first time I had a dream about and at the time I didn't know it was my grandfather, but my grandfather called me to heaven, and I got to sit in the waiting room, and he came in the door and he sat in the rocking chair, and I sat at his feet, and he explained my life, and I wanted to follow him into the noise. And he's like, sweetheart, you can't come in here. It's not your time. I can tell you the first time I had that dream. I can tell you the last time I talked to him. I can tell you I had a conversation with my mom, who's been dead 13 years. Her birthday is tomorrow, by the way. 2 weeks ago. She came to me in my dream to talk about something I've been having some issues with. And I'm like, it's been my entire life.
Yeah, definitely. I know exactly what you mean, because it's kind of interesting, because like, as you're saying that, like the visit with your grandfather and stuff like that, my mom does that kind of stuff in her sleep. It's so interesting. Like, her dad passed away, my papa, and he visits her all the time in dreams. Like, that's how she communicates with our family, is like in a twilight sleep. She can hear them and like feel them and like all this kind of stuff. But what you were talking about, just really quick, when you were saying like the ruffling of the skirts, like you could hear that and all that kind of thing, is that when I'm in a place, and I think that this is why I'm so drawn to like history, is because when I'm in a place, like I explained this to Berg and Jamie when we were in Philadelphia, it's like I can see things as they happened then. It's like that residual energy. It's like playing to me on like a screen, if that makes sense. But it's in my head. Like I can see it. And I told them that when we were in Philadelphia and we were looking at a cobblestone street, I could see like the horses and the carriages. But it's something I never thought was special. I just thought I was just being imaginative and like creative. But then I started growing to realize that's not necessarily what it is, because it's like I could hear it. I could hear like the horses going on the cobblestone street, and like I could see people in their like top hats, and like it was more of not the revolutionary period. It was more of like a Civil War kind of period dress that I saw that day. Don't know why, but I could see it. Like I could see them walking. I could see the dress. Like I think it's a residual energy kind of thing that some people are more sensitive to than others. I don't know how that works, but it's so fascinating that you said that though, because I don't know anybody else who's ever said like they heard something like that. Like you could hear the skirts. I've never had anybody else tell me that. There's one other person that has told me that she can see things like from the past, like when she's in a place, but I've never had somebody tell me that they can hear the things, like hear the people or like the hustle and bustle, or like it. That's just what I hear, but I don't know. It's crazy.
I feel like it's that. So I'm gonna. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm gonna describe it like this. Okay, so I completely feel like the universe is circular, and think of like the universe as like the rings of Saturn. Okay, and we all have varying vibrations of the different rings, and we bounce like a rock skips on water, and we bounce over these rings or vibrations. And there are certain times when you're more in tune to yourself, you're more in tune to your body, you're more in tune to the earth, that you pick up the different energies or vibrations. And I think that it takes, I don't know, I haven't really explored. I did a little bit a couple of years ago. There's a couple books I read that I keep telling Burgundy to read because it would make sense for you. But I will. I'm like, I go back and forth between, I think when I get to the point in my life when I'm really done taking care of other people, and this is going to sound really selfish, and I don't mean it to sound this way, but when I have the time and the mental capacity and the energy to focus on myself, and I have the patience to be patient with myself, I think that will be the time in my life when I start exploring all of those things. And I'm like, part of me says I'm wasting opportunity, and another part of me says I'm not wisdom enough at this moment in my life to understand that the way I would need to.
Yeah.
I think all of us, every person, every single human being on this planet, we're connected. We're all connected. And I think it has to do with our tether to the universe, and it has to do with what varying degrees of vibrations we're on. And I back that up back to that whole conversation about when you're in a room and you have positive energy and people gravitate towards that. And when you have a positive energy and you're in a positive place and you have a positive spirit, it flows out of you. It's like somebody turned on a spigot and you just spread it around the room. And the same thing happens with the negative energy, but it's almost like steam coming out of the faucet where it floats up to the ceiling versus oil and sludge coming out where it runs on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to be in the right mental space. And I would imagine when you saw that, when you guys were in Philadelphia, you were in the moment and you were enjoying your surroundings and the company was good. And it just helped you to float into that area of vibration where you could this is going to be a little weird, but break that time barrier where you look around and you see that same space and time, but 100 years ago or 150 years ago or 180 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because a lot of times, like on my day-to-day life, that's not something, that I see. And I don't hear things as often either. Like when you were talking about hearing the voices in your sleep and stuff like that, I hear that kind of stuff too, but it's definitely not that frequent, but I try to close myself off to that.
Well,
You like shut it off. You're like, no,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
but it takes a certain amount of energy. I mean, see, back to that whole energy, everything takes a certain amount of energy. And we only have, I don't know, 10 buckets, 15 buckets, 200 buckets. We only have so much. And the farther we spread ourselves out, the less we have to connect. I did a New Mexico trip 2 weekends ago with a friend of mine, and we did some grounding. And I highly recommend, and it's kind of a weird, but that's okay, to do some grounding and get outside in your grass and get barefoot and just take a minute to feel the earth holding you up, feel the earth beneath your feet, and just take a minute to be thankful to be in that minute. And take a deep breath and ground yourself to the earth. I think it's definitely a form of soul food that we all lack.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
In a very minimalistic way of saying this, I've done a few different spiritual journeys recently, and it is like when you said, Mom, the vibration, like you're able to get into the vibration of the time lapse kind of thing. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is very much that, and I don't know how else to explain that. That was like a perfect explanation. But like, I mean, I did a form of grounding last night, and it was very, very spiritually rejuvenating. And it's weird because like the next day I'm very tired, and it's like kind of like one of my friends said, a spiritual hangover, which is also accurate. But it is. I feel fresh. I feel like a new soul, ready to move forward with everything in life.
Well, I think about, remember when you were a little kid, I don't know, somewhere between the ages of 2 and 10, okay?
And broad time frame.
Well, because it happens, and something happened and you didn't get what you wanted, or you didn't get your way, or you got your feelings hurt, and you cried so hard it made you hyperventilate.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were done, it was almost like you had to take a nap, because you were so exhausted from that release of emotion. And when you're a child, it's easier because you don't have all the constraints and bindings of being an adult to release that. And so anytime you get into a point where you can let go and release that pent up energy, I think that's the thing that makes you tired, and that helps you heal on the inside. And I think today's world, it's so much easier to get a mental health diagnosis and take meds than it is to scream at the top of your lungs and tell the whole world to fuck off.
Sometimes you just gotta do that, man. But like I've done it before. I've gone up the mountain before, and I've just gone like as far back as I can, like comfortably, because out in the middle out in the middle of fucking Wyoming, and bears, wolves, mountain lions, probably Bigfoot if you want to keep it paranormal. But you just go and you just scream into the abyss, and it's very soul comforting, and I feel like people should do it more often.
Okay, that's 2 questions. What's the next one?
In a weird way, you've kind of almost touched on every question that we have.
Yeah.
Mom, as you know, I've mentioned a few times on the podcast that you have what you call Project Fear Tourette's.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Okay, good job.
Yeah, I can read your brain. So will you please, the woman herself, enlighten everybody on your Project Fear Tourette's?
Okay, so this is why I live in Wyoming where nobody else does. I stay in my Biden basement because nobody wants to. I'm not fit for public consumption because I cannot keep shit in my mouth. Literally, I cannot stay quiet. We used to watch, and this started, it's my entire life, but we used to watch Bridezillas, and it got so bad that nobody could sit next to me on the couch because I would be having a tantrum at the people on TV. So we're watching Destination Fear. And why the hell would you walk into something that says caution, do not enter? There's a reason why it says caution, do not enter. Do you think we should run towards the noise, Tanner? No! Fuck no! Run the other direction! Go the other direction! Why on God's green earth would you go into the dark room where it says dark room? You know what's in there? Bad things. Bad things are in it. See, I can't stop now. And it's a tick. I cannot not do it. I can't not do it. I can't do it. I cannot not do it. It got to the point where somebody was recording me in secret.
Me. That would be me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
So I can't, it's bad. It's really bad. So I tried the pillow. The pillow didn't help. It just helped me from being scared of the TV.
You know, I'm waiting for the day you throw that damn pillow at the TV.
Well,
at least it's a pillow.
There's been a few times. There has been a few times. I just want to say, in Project Fear Reverse, the teeth that were shiny and wet sitting in the stairway.
Oh my God.
Just no. Of all the things that like the like I can't even do it.
Yeah, that was nasty.
I feel like if I scream at the TV, they can hear me and they won't do bad behavior. And I forget when I'm watching that it was pre-recorded months, like in Destination Fearverse, months and months and months and months before we watched. So and now, I mean, it was like a month ago or 2 months ago or whenever it was. And I'm just like, I'm hoping someday they make better choices. It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be good TV. But I do have to say there has been a couple of instances that we really was over the top. And when Dakota locked Chelsea in the dungeon, I had
hashtag shitty brother.
Epic of all tantrums. And then when Chelsea locked Dakota in the body cooler, oh my God!
Yeah. Oh yeah.
High five, she wins. I do. Oh my God.
I felt so bad for him. Like, don't get me wrong. I felt bad for Chelsea. But when he was in that body cooler, I mean, just watching him lay in there and suffer, it was like, I just, a part of me, just being like the emotional person that I am, I was like, no, please, somebody get him out of there. Like, he was in such distress. He was sweating because it was hot. And he kept moving, and he's just like, I can't do anything. Like, he was so angry. Mm-hmm. And
we totally nerded out, like the airflow inside of that thing.
Oh my gosh,
how unsealed it was.
Her and Dawn were like the whole, like, one of these days I might just have to go live, and people are just gonna have to watch my parents watch Project Fear with me, because it's a whole experience. Like, her and Dawn were like, do you see that light from underneath Dakota? I think there's good airflow. I think he's getting enough airflow right now. I hope he's getting enough airflow right now. I hope he doesn't run out of air. Dawn's like, that's light, right? Like, it's coming through, right? Like, he's not gonna lose oxygen in there. It's like this whole freaking thing. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, you know, and what's really funny is that we're fairly intelligent people, and we get so sucked in to this show that we never really even wanted to watch and got suckered into to begin with. We're so entrenched in the show, we forget that we saw a clip of him like from 2 days ago. So we know he's not dead, right? We know that he's okay. And I cannot separate, like, I'm just so tunneled in to what is happening. And thank God for commercials, because then I can at least breathe, because I think I would suffocate by holding my breath. Freaking out about what's coming next.
I know it does that to you, though. Like, I'm constantly like so tense sometimes when, you know, the episodes get intense, and I'm just like, by the end of it, I'm like, oh my gosh, my arms hurt. Cause I will notice that I'm like tensing up and just like my teeth are together. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to take a chill pill, man. Like,
That's the beauty of the Project Fear crew and what they do, though, is like it really speaks volumes to, like, you know, earlier, Mads, you said it, they are so different than everything else you see. Like, I've tried other paranormal shows and I don't have the same type of watching experience that Project Fear / Destination Fear has given.
it's true.
In my opinion. So
I don't think there's anything I've seen where we've been that sucked into the characters and what's happening and what they're doing. And then being concerned, are they safe? Are they not safe? Why would you do this? You know, because it's a constant revolving door of putting myself in that situation. And would I do that? No. Fuck no, I would never do that. And then a part of me is like, oh, maybe I could do that. Is that a challenge? Now I'm challenged. And then I watch, it's like this whole tumbling cycle of yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Did you ever have a Jack in the Box when you were a kid?
I don't know, Mom, did I?
Can't say that. I don't know. Probably not.
The little the song, you turn the handle and the song, it's Ring Around the Rosies, Pocket Full of Posies.
Yeah.
And then at some point in time, the thing jumps out and it's supposed to scare you. The little clown, creepy clown guy. It's this show is that.
Yeah.
It's the buildup of the anticipation of, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to jump out and scare me? You never know what's going to happen. And you get the genuine feeling none of it is scripted. And it's all original. And when some of my favorite things, and this is going to sound a little bad, but you know it's real. Like I'm always about what's the barometer? How do I validate this thought theory that I have? How do I validate that? How do I prove that this is true or untrue? Tanner gets really freaked out and he giggles.
Yeah.
And that's an actual real human response to that kind of emotion.
Yeah.
And it's when they're really freaked out. Not only does I know that whole Tanner episode of Big Daddy Tanner, and he like runs towards Chelsea, and he's always like, protect Chelsea, be in front, be the muscle, you know. And Dakota's always like trying to amp up the, okay, we've done this, we've experienced this, and we're fluent in this. Now let's try this. And everybody's like, no, we're not going to do it. We're secretly behind you, but we're not going to say it out loud because we don't want you to get too big of a head and we don't really want
He doesn't need bigger ideas.
Well, exactly. It's all real. It's so real.
Very real.
And it's that's how life is. It's not Real Housewives with fake lips and fake boobs and drama and stab everybody in the back, stabby all the time. I mean, that is also part of real life, but that's crappy, immature real life, and it's not shit I want to be a part of.
Right. I just got this weird visual of like Project Fear guys with fake lips and fake boobs. Instead of Desperate Housewives, Desperate Fearmen.
Alex and Tanner, I'm calling you out. I want you to be Tootsie for Halloween.
Oh my God.
Okay, and if you don't, so this is going to age me. If you don't know what Tootsie is, it's an 80s movie about men in drag.
I don't even know what that is.
That would be so. All I'm saying is that's
1982.
That's hot.
Just kidding, but could you imagine?
All right, if Tanner and Alex do that, I'm gonna freaking die of laughter.
That'd be awesome, honestly.
I think that now and then you'll have them big lips and boobs.
Desperate Fearmen. On this week's episode of Desperate Fearmen.
So I here's what I love. This is one of the things I love about the podcast, but it's really weird. Okay, I'm like, oh, that's my kid, and then she's outing me on all these stories about her life and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, well, okay, yeah. So keep in mind that anybody's perspective is their perspective. How you remember something is how you remember something. It's your history, it's your life, and it's your story to tell. There's always multiple sides to every story. And each side affects someone differently, of course, by your history, your background, your own life experiences. So you guys will like do the whole Project Fear thing, and then you get off and you be silly and goofy, and then you get off on something and you'll be really serious about for a minute. And no matter what it is that you're talking about, I feel like I'm a part of the conversation. And I am a huge podcaster. Okay. So I work from home, I work in my basement, and I do stuff that I think is amazing. For the most of the world, and the general population is very, very boring. Okay. I do accounting. I'm an accountant. I live in the world of numbers, and I love it because numbers never, ever lie to you. Having said that, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of, it's pretty tedious. A lot of spreadsheets. It's a lot of, taking stuff out of this bucket and making sure it matches that bucket kind of thing. So I listen to a ton of podcasts. There's not a lot of podcasts out there that I feel like I'm a part of the conversation. And if I want to, there has been a few where in the beginning I felt like I was part of the conversation, and I was interested and open to hearing different topics about different subjects. Because I know as a human being, in order to grow, I have to get outside of my own comfort bubble space and see what's going on with the rest of the world and how other people are living, and then make an educated decision on whether or not that's good for me, bad for me, or I want to explore that more, or fuck no, that's dumb. And it's okay that for me, fuck no, that's dumb, because for somebody else, it'll be, oh yeah, I need more of this, right? And it could be, one day it could be fuck no, that's dumb, and the next day it could be, oh, I need more of this. And it could be the same topic. And maybe one day I'm not open to hearing it, and another day I am open to hearing it. But I just think that your guys' podcast is real and relevant and fluent and different enough that I feel like I am a part of the conversation. And I definitely am someone who walks to the beat of my own drum, and I hear music that no one else hears. And that's fine. Voices. Yeah, sometimes voices too, right? Yeah. And I am crazy, so it's okay. But I think it's important in today's world. And you know what? I'm a very opinionated person. I have my own belief system. I know, what works for me, and that is how I live my life, and I'm very solid in that. But I also know that doesn't work for everybody else, and it's not up to me to cram it down everybody else's throats. Now, not everybody thinks the way I think. And I'm incredibly conservative on some things, and I'm very liberal on some other things. I think in today's world, in the society that we live in, where you have to be this way or you're nothing, or you have to be that way or you're nothing, or I don't know, pick it. I'm deplorable. I'm worthless. I'm entitled. I'm privileged. I'm whatever today's flavor of the day is. I think it's good to have something that someone like me, who doesn't typically fit in anywhere, can be a part of the conversation. And actually today I am a part of the conversation because I'm on the podcast. So it makes me feel a little special. But I think it's important. And I know we all have our Burgundy, here comes your mom lecture.
I was like, Mads, welcome to a mom lecture.
The world today, and I say this today, the world is very hard. And it's very hard for a million reasons. In large part because a lot of people have made it really hard for a million reasons. Okay. And so let's run down the gamut real fast, just in case somebody's been living under a rock, right? Mm-hmm. Inflation is crazy. Our political system is so divided. It's ridiculous. Our people are divided more now than they ever have been ever in my lifetime now. And I'm like kind of old, so I can say that, and it makes me sound old, but that's okay because I've earned it. On top of that, it feels like the world is in chaos because you turn on the news, and we don't do that anymore in this house. And we were like diehard news people because it's just bad. Turn it on. Death, destruction, disease, debt. What other D words can I come up with? Dumb. And we have to, it's hard to remember because and I call it bad marketing or evil marketing. We're conditioned that we have to be better, and we have to feel better, and we have to have more, and we have to, that's the way the last 30 years of our society, that's how we're programmed. Okay. You guys are and I call them the Facebook generation. because you grew up on social media. And like, if you get into the background and the history of Facebook, the algorithms are created to release dopamine in your brain every time your phone dings. And so you're born into this society where it's more consumerism. And then we forget that we're all people and we all have feelings and we all experience the world differently and we all have different perceptions and we all have great days and we all have bad days and we're all people. And we all breathe the same air, and we all live in the same world. And we're all forgetting that the human connection is people. And like, so because I keep referencing being old, I'm finding that sweet spot in life where what's really important to me isn't all the shit that I have in my big ass house. It's all the relationships that I've built and the connections that I have. And the days that I can make someone smile and have a better day, even when I'm having a bad day, that is more important to me now than getting the newest cell phone or the best shoes or the newest car or the whatever. And I think it's important. I think it's really important that we just stop and take a breath and smile at someone who we don't know, who's a stranger, and hold the door open for them. Because what does that cost? Nothing. It costs you nothing. And back to that throwing out positive energy and that spigot of beautiful light that people gather to. The universe, the earth, the world is in such a desire for that I think it's upon every one of us, it's our responsibility to put that out there as the best we can. And now we're not always going to do it right. We're not always going to say the right thing, and we're going to trigger somebody and somebody's going to get upset. And you know what? It's okay. I'm sorry. It's okay. And I'm here, and I don't like hugging people, but I'm here for hugs. I will hand them out left and right. I will smile at all the people that think I'm weird. So my friends tell me don't ever go to New York City because I can't not smile at strangers on the street. Because I'm genuinely a happy person, and I very much like to see other people smile. And you can't look at someone and smile and have them, their first reaction is to smile back at you.
Yeah.
And you have all had, and when I say you all, I don't mean you two, I mean you all, whoever's listening, you've all had those days where all you really needed is that one person to smile at you, to know that you make a difference. You all have had that moment where everything is bad and everything is wrong, and you're like contemplating the point of why you exist, and you have one person smile at you, and it changes everything.
You just feel seen.
Yeah.
What does it take? What does it take away? It does nothing. You know what? I have to stop and breathe for 3 seconds more to hold the door so I don't slam it in someone's face. Now I'm going to get mad. There is the one thing in the world that pisses me off more than eggshells in the sink is when somebody walks in front of me and shuts the door in my face.
Yeah. It's so
It
rude.
pisses me off every time. So you know what? I make sure I am not the one that does that to someone else.
I feel like the eggshells in the sink was a call out to Dawn, by the way.
I was about to say, that's oddly specific.
Shout out Dawn. That must have happened like today.
No, it didn't happen today. That's
Yesterday?
really funny.
It's pretty fresh.
No, it's a Zimmer thing. So there's my putting positivity in the world mom lecture for the universe.
I just want to say that this is why I've always wanted you to podcast, because you're the type of podcast I want to listen to.
Very true.
I was super sucked into that whole thing until I had to make the joke, because that's who I am, because I'm Dawn's child.
You are Dawn's child. So when life gets a little serious and tense, the easiest way to break it is with humor. So I mean, the thing of it is that we all of us have a story. Everybody has a story, right? And we all have our truths, and we all have everybody has overcome something. There isn't a person on this planet that doesn't know somebody that didn't die of COVID, that doesn't know somebody that wasn't abused in their childhood or abused by a spouse, or somebody that died from suicide, or somebody that died from cancer, or something. Everybody has something somewhere. Everybody does. And you know what that makes us? Equal.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I believe this world needs is more equality. And I don't mean somebody needs to be bigger or better than someone else because of whatever. It just means that we're all the same. And just fucking people, have some compassion for someone who's having a bad day.
Hey, when
You
you,
know
strip it all away, man, we all have the same bones. All our skeletons look the same.
Our blood runs the same colors inside of our body and outside of our body. We all breathe the same air. We all have to drink water or we die. We just forgot. I think in the COVID shutdown, lockdown, stay away from people, don't kill the little old ladies era of the 2020 to now, I think we forgot.
Yeah, it's changed people.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And I mean, so, you know, here's the only other thing I'll say. I'm gonna stop talking. Is that those people that are the happiest out there that you see, that you think that have their shit together, and the ones that always have a positive attitude, and the ones that are smiling and happy are the ones that have been through the most shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they're that way is because they've already been to hell and back.
Yep.
Probably multiple times.
There ain't no stopping those kind of people. And I can say that, you know why? Because all three of us on this podcast right now, and Jamie, even though she's not here, we are those people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my opinion, somebody might disagree with me, and I don't care. But in my opinion, the four of us and many other people in my day-to-day life, we are those kinds of people. And it's true. Everything you're saying is entirely true. I agree with you.
Yeah, I definitely agree too. That's why I try to be like more positive, because what is being an asshole gonna do for everybody else, especially myself?
What's it gonna accomplish?
Because it's nothing.
Cancer.
Yeah. Cancer.
Well, you'll end up with cancer because the cells that are bad and they start to divide in a bad way, and that's negative energy.
True. What is your favorite Project Fear or Destination Fear episode?
Oh, I'm not the Project Fear walking encyclopedia like Burgundy is, that couldn't pull out of my ass.
I know.
Episode name, blah, blah, blah.
Me neither.
Here's some standouts, okay? The Winchester House.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I knew what that was before, like the episode before, and they do that, and Project Fear, now they give you a little snippet of the next episode. Okay, I knew what it was, and so that one's been on my bucket list of someplace to go and explore. And Alex, like, getting all mad and running down the hallway. Some of my creepiest episodes, I think, are the ones with the doll room and the smoke coming out.
That was the hospital in Texas.
I made you go to.
Is it Nazareth? Is it old Nazareth Hospital? Is that what it was?
That was a little freaky. I really enjoyed the one where Chelsea walked around that village.
Oh yeah,
and the schoolhouse, and that could be someplace I could go to. Probably Definitely. During the day.
Not at night.
Maybe not at night, in the daytime. I really enjoyed too something else that stuck out to me. I don't know what episode it was in, but they went to the gas station and they saw the fan that had the bracelet. That yeah, that was cool. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really.
You were the one who pointed it out. Actually, I didn't even see it. You're like, she's wearing a Destination Fear bracelet.
Yeah. I thought that one was really cool. I really like the Project Fear stuff better than the Destination Fear stuff.
Same. It's not as serious.
Well, it's more them.
Yeah.
You get a better experience of, like, I like the Airbnb. Because I nerd out everything. I have to know how everything works. I really enjoy the snippets of the Airbnb. And I don't know if it's in the episode, you know, like some of the road trip stuff when they're in the car and they're really tired, and Tanner's always driving. Tanner's driving and everybody's picking on somebody. But that's real life stuff. That's the stuff that they have to do for this.
That's what a road trip with me and Madeline is like from North Carolina to Pennsylvania. So, I mean, it's just two of us, but.
That was an experience. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I have some questions for you two. Why did you want to make a podcast? And I wish Jamie was here because I wanted to hear her answer too.
And last year in Jersey, we were kind of like just talking about it. We're like, we should podcast, but like Mads will tell her side in a second too. But I mean, I've always wanted to podcast. I mean, Mom, you can speak to it. How long have I been asking you to do podcasts?
I know.
Years, right? Like since I lived at the Kestrel house. So
yeah.
I always wanted to do one, and then Mads was like, we were just talking one day, and she was like, I always wanted to do a podcast, and I was like, oh, bro, me too, and she was like, bro, no way, me too, and so It just kind of, we were like, you know, you never know what you're going to talk about. And then we were like, this is perfect. Like, this is how we all became friends. This is what we can all relate to. So, you know, why not make one for Destination Fear, now Project Fear?
So I pretty much had this passing thought back in like 2020. I can tell you exactly where I was. I was driving home from work, and I lived in a different location than I live at now. So it was like a long drive. And I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, it would be so cool to have a podcast. And it would be so cool to have it be around Destination Fear. Like, I had that thought. Like, I knew it then that I wanted to do that. But I didn't know who I would do it with. Because Berg and Jamie and I, like, we knew each other, but we weren't besties yet. And so the only person I could think of that I could do it with would be Amanda, who went with us to Atlanta and Jersey last year. But it just never came up in my mind again, I guess, until Jersey last year. And we were kind of like playing around with the idea. But then we started getting serious about it at the beginning of this year. And I'm just so glad that we could all like come together and do it and actually make it happen. Like, it was one of those ideas that made it out of the group chat. Like, but that's when it started for me. It was like 3 years ago.
And I'm not gonna speak for Jamie, but she has said before that she thought we were joking.
Yeah.
So we were like, no, we serious. And so clearly we're doing it now. Even to take it a little bit further, the feedback that we've gotten just this far, like this is what, our 16th episode now, has been mind-blowing to me personally, in my opinion, on just like the support that we get from the Fear fam. Mads and I were talking before you got on, Mom, that like there's people in our personal lives like might not even watch Project Fear yet, but they still listen to us. Like, it's crazy.
Why does the feedback shock you?
It's one of those things where it's like, it was almost intuitional. Okay, so I mean, Mads and I talked about intuition this week too. So it's like, I knew that if we did this, I knew that people would listen to us. I knew that if we did this, people would be able to relate to us. I knew that if we did this, people would find us funny, because we are. And it's like, even though I knew, you still, because, you know, back to the human experience and being a human in general, you still have the doubts, you still have the what ifs, you still have the insecurities because you're trying something new you haven't done yet. So it's like, even though I knew, you know, you get expectations and you have a high expectations for things, and you get your expectations shot down over and over again in life. So you start putting less higher expectations onto experiences. So this was one of those things where I knew what I wanted the outcome to be, but I put a lower expectation on it because I was trying to keep myself realistic to not get my own hopes up and break my own heart. Yeah. And it's exceeded the expectations that I walked into it with. And that's cool. And it's cool because I originally, like I said, I knew that this would happen, but again, trying to be realistic and, you know, being a human and having some insecurities about it. It's just really cool. It's really cool that I had that gut feeling initially, and it's coming to fruition. So,
but what's crazy too is like, we don't talk about numbers on here, but like, I've texted the girls like so many times, and I'm like, have you seen our numbers? Like, and this is prior to Alex. This is prior to Tanner coming on. Like, it was all us. I just was surprised, and still am surprised, that people care enough to listen to me.
And continue to listen.
It's like, I just come on here and say some crazy shit, and then I dip. Like, but a part of me too wonders if it's because like we're so dedicated to this, and we work so hard to like make sure that the edits are good. Like, all of us edit now. All of us, you know, have a say in what stays, what goes. And I mean, it's not something that we just do and then upload and don't think about. Like, we put time and effort into this, and maybe it's showing to our audience, and maybe that's why they like us, because we're who we are, plus on top of us putting in the hard work too. I don't know why people like me. I really don't.
I mean, we keep it real.
Yes.
Like, yeah, see, Mom's saying yes, so I don't know.
Yes.
Mom, can you elaborate?
Well,
you
back to like
said that you feel like you're part of the conversation, and you don't get that often in podcasts, so maybe that's part of it.
So there's a commonality, okay? That obviously it's the show that's part of the commonality, but it's like I'm a whole generation, almost, but yeah, generation older than you. all three of you. And I mean, you're all my children, is like how I see you. And it's like, how do I don't have the same vernacular. I don't have the same thought process. I don't have the same interests, but I can still be a part of this conversation. And for me, being older, because I keep talking about that, apparently I have an issue. Maybe I should work on that. Is we can have this conversation and it can be relevant, and therefore I am relevant. Even in today's world where I like can't get all the slang textbook terms and what?
Is it like the listening experience of we smiled at you like strangers walking by?
Yeah, dude.
Whoa.
Dude. Yes. Thank you. It's part of the human experience I want to be a part of right now in this weird, crazy, dysfunctional, antisocial world that we're in right now. And I think Mads, I love your laugh. It's so annoying. I love it. It makes me giggle. It makes me smile. It makes me happy. It gives me this bubbly up joy. It's awesome. It's just, and it's real and it's fresh. And I mean, it's contentful. And it doesn't matter why people like you. They do. It really ultimately it doesn't matter. You're doing something for people, and you guys don't even understand. You don't even know you're doing it because you're the ones doing it. You're not the ones receiving it. You're the ones that giving it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you probably need to go back. Do you listen to your own podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fucking weird like that. I totally do.
We listen to it like after we upload it and everything. It's like we're the first listeners. We listen to the whole thing like we're the people.
Yeah. Because, like, editing it is one thing, but, like, listening, like, for some reason, it just sounds so much crisper when you listen to it on Spotify.
It does, for some reason.
And I just, like, because you're editing it and you're going at it, like, literally, it's so tedious, like, 5 seconds at a time, and it takes forever. And so you don't really get to listen to it as a whole. And so I do go back and listen to it because I want to hear the final product as a whole piece.
So do you listen to it from your own lens, or do you listen to it from the audience's lens?
I think my first listen is from my own lens, and then because I get hard on myself. I'm like, ew, is that my voice? Is that my voice? But then somebody will message me, like, somebody not you, Mom, and they'll be like, this part made me laugh so much, so I will go back to that part and like try to listen to it like as if I wasn't me, and if I'm like, what did they hear right here that they thought was so funny? So I do that sometimes too.
There'll be some weird thing that'll happen and it'll catch me weird, and then I laugh and laugh, and I have to pause the podcast so I can continue laughing, and then I giggle, and then I have to go to the bathroom because I just about peed myself, and then I come back, and then I'm still giggling, and then I have to rewind a little bit, listen to the whole section again, and then giggle some more, and it just tickles my funny bone in a way like Joe Coy makes me laugh. It's good. And it's white chocolate on Easter good.
Oh, sounds really good.
Mads, did you want to answer if you listen to it from your perspective or try to do it from a listener's perspective?
I do it from both. Okay, so we do a final listen before we upload when it's all pieced together. So I'll listen to that as me. From my perspective, like, is there anything I want to take out of this? Because we did get to, I think the first time that this happened a couple weeks ago, we did get to a point where Burke had done the full edit, and I was like, there's stuff that I said right here. I need to cut it out. Like, so that part is me. But then when I go to Spotify, I try to listen to it like I'm a different person, like an outside perspective. Like how would somebody else view what I'm saying or what we're all saying, and
how would somebody else perceive you, type of thing.
Yeah, and then I think I'm funny as shit, so I entertain myself. I mean,
that's the best part.
I do that anyway. Like, I'm so not normal. Like, I'm the kind of person where I'll be laying in my bed and I will think of something so funny and I'm just dying laughing, and my roommates will be like, what are you laughing at? And it's like, I can't explain it because you won't think it's funny.
Oh, okay. I got a story. Can I tell you a story? Yes. Do we have time for a story?
Of course, yeah.
So I pack Don's lunch for him every day. So I started writing messages on his food. And it's getting colder, and so I'm like, we have soups and stews and stuff, and then sometimes I'll send him to work with bread and butter. And the other day I wrote on the outside, it's not prison food, it's good food. And I just thought it was hilarious, right? Because in my head, he's getting bread and butter, and that's prison food. Well, the other day, this is the dumbest. This is so dumb. Dumb. I cracked myself up for like an hour and a half. Okay, I wrote on the outside of the banana, he got a banana, and he got a yogurt. And on the outside of the banana, I wrote, what did I put on there? I'm bananas for you. See, this is why I can't fucking tell a joke. I screwed up all the time. It's so bad. Okay.
It's your own joke.
You make me bananas. I don't know. I wrote something on that. It was really funny. And then I put a sticker and I would start laughing because it's so dumb. Oh my God. And you put the yo in Gert.
What the fuck?
I just thought it was funny.
That's some shit that I would think is funny.
But it's funny. I saw the banana and I saw this message in my head, right? So I wrote it down with the marker, and I can't remember what it's something about you make me bananas, or I'm bananas for you, or it was some really dumb cheesy thing, right? And then I looked at the yogurt and it said yo Gert. Sorry. Anyway, I do that shit too all the time, and it just cracked me up. It was the funniest. Oh my God, it was funny.
And literally no one else, like my brothers, I will crack jokes all the time, and it's always silent. Like it happened earlier. We went to dinner and I made a joke and nobody laughed, but I was dying. And I'm just like, I don't care if they laugh. If I think I'm funny, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do not. Anything that I say isn't always necessarily for a laugh or for other people. It's for me. Like if I think something is hilarious, I'm just going to say it and do it and cackle and go about my business,
I crack myself up all the time.
As long as you don't leave your eggshells in the sink.
Don't. Oh, that just pisses me off. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Because you said you crack yourself up. Get it?
Oh. You don't do No, dumb dad joke. No dumb dad joke.
That was a fucking dad joke for sure.
That was totally a dad joke. Dawn's daughter. No.
See, I'm cracking myself up.
Oh my God.
I think you guys have a good thing going. I enjoy listening very much. And it's fun to get your take on what happened in the episodes. And I mean, Burgundy's always there when I'm spouting off something weird or look at that, or I always find the ducks, almost always find the ducks.
How the
and
weirdo? I don't know. She's so weird. I'm like, she's like, there's a duck. I'm like, fucking weird. Like
that is how Sierra is. I think, I don't know. Some people just have the talent.
Yeah, they're not duck blind.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, stop.
Dakota one time, like it was back in, I think it was 2021, and he was on this like bullying spree of like people who could not find the duck. And I said something like, well, can you give us a hint? And he's like, no, it's not even that hard. And I'm like, rude. Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
One time he said, I think he was like, well, we can't all be great at everything. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, that's fucking rude, man.
It's like, so you think I'm great at everything else, right?
Yeah, basically. That's how I'm taking that, because how else are you supposed to take that?
He gets this little sassy streak when it comes to those ducks. What a weenus. But he's definitely a weenie too.
Yeah, Weenie Hut Jr. In a weird, kind of cathartic way, this was also like a deeper dive into why Berg is the way she is. So that's cool.
Oh yeah, I'm not winning any Mom of the Year awards, man.
You win the Mom of the Year award in my book.
Oh.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, Mom.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me and listening to my crazy mom rants.
No, I feel like the peoples are gonna love it for sure. So I mean, I enjoyed it. I was very into all of it. So I just listening to you talk.
I feel like you're just making me feel better. You know, I'm terrified to listen to this and hear myself and go, is that what I sound like?
I was actually gonna ask you. I was gonna be like, because you asked us, do you listen back? Are you gonna listen back to your own episode?
Of course, I'm gonna listen to it and go, oh my God, dude!
You're gonna do the thing. Is that my voice? Is that my voice? You know, like Emperor's New Groove. So, anyways, love you. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Love you.
Thanks. Bye.
Well, babes, hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week we will be getting back into the nitty-gritty with Project Fear.
Project Fear will be back Friday, October 20th. So, when you're listening to this, less than 5 days or 5 days. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, when you're listening to this, 5 days.
Well,
yeah.
If they listen to it on Sunday. Because if you do listen to us on a Sunday, you the MVP.
Yeah.
Any other day, still appreciate you. But if you listen to us the day we drop, I fucking love you extra, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm excited for season 2 of Project Fear. All right. Well, that being said, goodbye, babes.
Bye, babes. We will see you next week. All I'm gonna say is right here, right now. But Dakota, if you're listening to this, or Tana, hey,
Tana,
Tanner,
we fucking love you,
Kana, Riley, team up. We need Dakota to answer something. Okay, check your messages. Thank you. Dun 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 dun.